Oh, I'm so excited to be here with all of you. This Wise Women Roundtable has been, we're almost 2 years into this process. This is so amazing. I love each of you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for doing this with me. And all the beautiful, wonderful, amazing insights you each bring that just enriches this experience so much. Thank you. And we are just in an amazing time. So today, as we're recording this video, is the Virgo new moon. It's with the comet Nishimura. It is, I'll say a little more about that in a moment. It is also Neptune opposite that, the new moon energy. And it's taking us, this is what's helping to like set up the stage for us to go into the equinox, the next full moon, which will be another close, full, bright, big moon coming up. And then to the annular solar eclipse happening on October 14th. So we'll talk about that just a little bit as well. So today, one of the things that I will put in the show notes, a link to the new moon video in case you haven't seen it, that I did on dream weaving, how we are dream weaving a new reality with this, and that the Virgo energy is connected to Spider Woman. She's the one who weaves the web of this reality. And when we are, when something's out of pattern, her job is to go back and reweave it into pattern. Or if the web is completely destroyed, which is not, that can definitely happen, she goes back and reweaves the web and with a new energy, a greater awareness and consciousness. And ideally, when it's woven correctly, everything she needs comes to her. So if Spider weaves her web in a good place, she just waits for it to come to her. It's like she's that source. She can connect to that source and bringing it in. So that's the power of the new moon that we're in. And if you haven't had a chance yet to go out and just give some love to the earth, because it's like, how are we weaving the mysteries of the earth and sky together? Something that has been lost and we're now getting back. So this is a big part of what we're wanting to do. Go out under the sky and see. Tomorrow you'll be able to see a crescent moon in the evening sky. Maybe you can see the comet. But what's happened with the comet that was discovered in August is that it's on the edge of naked eye visibility, but it's so close to the sun. I've looked and I cannot see it, not with my naked eye. So there's also a mountain in our east, and so probably not a low enough horizon. But comets are, they bring change. They're change agents. They bring massive change. And often those changes aren't visible for, they kind of unfold over a year after the comet has been passing certain parts of the sky. And so we're getting these activations. And with this new moon and the comet being with this new moon, it may be shocking, it may be surprising, it may be something that is outside of our ordinary experience of everyday reality that is happening, that's being seeded now, that helps us to move into the new earth. So one of the things that I just was reminded of recently is that sometimes things have to be destroyed in order for something new to be created. So if you're going to build a new house and there's a house already there, you have to take down that old house so you can put the new house in. It's what is it that we're needing to let go of and release and trust that when we do that, then we're creating the space for something new and more amazing than what we've possibly imagined so far. And that's what comets can bring. The comet will be closest to the sun on September 17th. And if it survives that, because sometimes comets can kind of fall apart when they're with the sun, if it survives that, it'll be visible in the evening sky a few days later. And we'll be passing Mars. And interesting, we were just talking about the masculine and how there's an awakening in the field of the masculine awareness and identity on the planet, which is awesome. And then we have the equinox. So that'll be the comet will also be very close to the sun, still very close to the sun at the equinox. So it's bringing its energy into this equinox time as well when we reach that balance of day and night. When we reach that balance, and it's in 0 Libra point, when the sun reaches 0 Libra, that has the most to do with conscious, co-creative, collaborative relationship. And that's the relationship between the masculine and the feminine, as well as how we have that relationship within ourselves and with each other and the planet and the earth and the sky and all of that. So really amazing time. And then as I mentioned, we'll have another full moon, big full moon. It's the fourth one in a series of 4, and it'll be the last one this year that will be really big and bright as it's rising. It won't be quite as big or bright as as last month, but it'll still be pretty awesome to note that full moon as it's rising in Aries. And that's the warrior energy. What's our mission, our cause, our purpose? That takes us into the next new moon a month from now, and that will be on October 14th, and it's an annular solar eclipse. What that means is that it's the path of the sun and the moon, they're really aligned, so it's like a total eclipse, but the moon isn't quite big enough to completely cover the sun. So it leaves a ring of fire around the sun. And so it doesn't get completely dark, but it darkens the day, the light gets a little dark. And I will put in the show notes a link to an article about this. There's a story of, it's a Norse story of Brunhild, who gets put in the ring of fire because she's being, she's not following the rules. So the god Odin puts her in the ring of fire, and how literally, if you look at the sun as a masculine principle, and some cultures saw it as a feminine principle, so we can see it as a solar feminine principle, but according to this story, it would be the god put Brunhild in the ring of fire, and the moon, the feminine, the Luna aspect. So it's like, how are those coming together? So in a sense, we could say, how would we rewrite that story now? It's not that she's being punished because she won't do what he wanted her to do, but how is it that they're coming together? The sun and the moon you'll be able to see the dark face of the moon going over the sun. And it's going to be coming across the US and a lot of South America. I think I'll put a link to that article on this eclipse, and there's going to be an eclipse map so you can see where it's coming. So maybe you'll be able to see it if that's something that if you're on that path of the light. We're actually going to New Mexico where it's going to be crossing through, so we can see it. Anyway, it's in Libra. This is a Libra new moon. So coming back to this idea of relationship and how are we relating to ourselves, to each other, to the masculine and feminine within us, to the masculine and feminine outside of us. And it's with a star Spica. We won't see the star, but that star energy is going to be very present at this eclipse. And that's the star in the hand of the High Priestess constellation. And it was the star that was considered to be like Venus when Venus wasn't in the sky. So ancient cultures worked with that star. There are literally in some, I think it's in Germany, places where they have people who call themselves the priestesses of Spica. So it's a super powerful star aligned with another star called Arcturus, a masculine star. So that masculine feminine connection again showing up. So this is part of the opportunity that we have, is to really pay attention to our relationships. How are we relating to ourselves? How are we relating to each other? What are we seeding? What's the new energy coming in around that? So I think that's probably enough for that. And it's pretty exciting. I'm going to pass this off to Elizabeth to let her share with us her insights about what's going on.
Oh, thank you, Kaylin. And thank you so much, you three ladies. This has been life-changing for me too over this. Can't believe it's been 2 years. Gosh. It's been so precious. Thank you so much for this beautiful idea of coming together. And it's a really good template for women, but it's also a template for men to come together now. And I think that that's very precious. It's really coming up in consciousness for us to make this bridge happen. And some years ago, probably about 13, 14 years ago, I had the most beautiful dharmic vision of what it was going to take for these times to come, for men and women to come together and rewrite the story. The priesthood of light, the priestesses of light, the kings of the heart. And first, what it required was humility, because the women have been keeping the wisdom through the priestess circles for so long, maintaining it, but they can't rebuild the temple by themselves. They need help. They can't put that roof on. they need the guys. And there's a realization deep down in much of the feminine, knowing that we really do need to make sure that the men get that opportunity. But it takes a lot of effort, because the masculine has been in an existential starvation of our creation. We all were part of the creation of the patriarchy, the fall of the temple of Isis, and the split of the priesthood of Amun-Ra. And that's really where all of this began in time, thousands of years ago. And now it's the end of all of that. And so I saw that there would be a bridge built, and that the men were going to face Kali first. And Kali Ma is very merciful if you're willing to be humble. And it was the masculine recognizing that they needed to be humble, because the women were the ones who have the knowledge and wisdom that they need to be able to do their journey into the masculine. And that those men who were willing to be humble to that they would be met by the Divine Mother, and their priesthood would be reclaimed, that they would be reignited as kings of the heart. And what I mean by that is that the masculine heart field is the power center of the man, the upper body. It's literal. And that power center is the stage on which the feminine, who's more formless, can actually dance the Leela and bring through the galactic, bring through the earthly wisdom, the Aquarian age, where the galactic and the earthly wisdoms are combined. And then the temple can be rebuilt. So many of the men who may hear this, or any of you ladies who might like to share this with your guys in your life, it's their call now. We're calling them forth. I see it now. The story flipped. It's Broomhilda saying, "Come hang out with me, dear father, son, and we're gonna come together. Give me a big hug and I will share my wisdom with you." So I feel this great sense of hope. I've been waiting for this time. I've had so many clues in my life that this was going to be the most precious time in our journey towards recreating this beautiful new earth. So there's that beautiful moment of hope. It is the full and final breakdown of what the constructs of men and women have been in the Kali Yuga. Now we're entering into the ascending Satya Yuga. It's time to drop all of what we ever knew about relationships so that it can be fully renewed. We got to get down to that 0 Libra. I'm a Libra. So I'm through and through. That eclipse happens the day before my birthday. So it feels like a message that I hold dear to my heart, to find that balance inside of you. What part of your inner masculine needs to be nourished? What part of your inner masculine can be humbled and then nourished by the Divine Mother, who is so fully present? The earth is incredibly generous with what she's offering us now. So that's the message I feel from my heart to offer today. Thank you so much. And I'll hand it to Sarah. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth. And thank you again. Again, I can't believe it's 2 years anyway. It has been very precious. I received a message just the other day from somebody saying how much she values what we share together. And I think that's part of it, is that we do actually get really nourished by each other. So, and I think that shines through as well. So, yeah, today it's very simple. what I'm going to share, which is really what has been some of my inspirations over the last few weeks. So just to set the scene, and I'll frame this in the personal, just as the story. I'm very much a summer girl. I love the light, I love the sun, I love the warmth. And so even at this time of year, I'll go, oh no. And so I'll go, oh, it's only 12 weeks until it gets light again. So I have this kind of like really reverse way of inspiring myself through to the autumn. So we still have very beautiful weather here, but we can see that the seasons are changing. And in August, we had some very crazy weather, hot and then cold and all over the place, basically. And during it, I found myself I was also away on holiday, I wasn't working per se. And so I had time to really kind of like feel into how I was. And I found myself kind of feeling anxious. And I was like, what is going on? What's happening here? And so I was just aware of it for a couple of days. And then all of a sudden, while I was outside, because we live near the Gironde estuary, there's lots of birds. So we see the migrations of the birds. And I saw all these birds flying over, and I was like, oh, the seasons are changing. And I always remembered my dear Chinese doctor, who's still in the UK, saying, it's normal when you see the birds starting to fly to feel sad. It's normal because things are leaving, it's the autumn energy. And as soon as I remembered all of this, and this is really what I want to share, I just had to share the other bit so you can understand. My system kind of went, it was a tiny click inside it. And I was like, oh, I'm not anxious anymore now, because I kind of brought myself back into a sync with nature. I was trying to hold on to something while nature was moving in the way that she does, which is very Virgo, of course. And as soon as I realized that I had been there was just something small. I've been working with the lunar cycles and the seasons for ages, but I'd forgotten to really look into the sky and allow my energy field to kind of merge outwards and inwards. I'd somehow forgotten to really be part of that. And the moment I did, everything changed for me, and all of my things that were going on, it was like, okay, it's okay. It's okay. It's just change. That's all it is. And so for anybody for whom might be a little bit wired like me, not necessarily because you love summer, but I find that I'm a little bit wired for anxiety. It's kind of where I go if I go off. If you have something like that, maybe you could maybe just ponder whether or not it would be helpful for you just to tune in with nature, because when we kind of like put our arm, join arms, link arms, that's the word I'm looking for. Then we go, oh, okay, so I just need to walk through this space. That's all it is. It's change. And so on the back of that, or with that, I wanted to share just a little exercise that I've been using, where you can very, very easily get answers or connecting with your intuition and partner with nature to do that. So if we can just play along together here, and then if you do it with me now, you can use it more consciously perhaps later. And so just think of something that you'd like an answer to. I did this the other day while I was outside. There was this thing that I was whirring around in my head. Shall I do this? Shall I do this? I was like, oh, just, let go. And so I again remembered my own medicine. Now I happen to be outside. If you can do it outside, it's a really beautiful thing to do. If you can't be outside for any reason, just connect yourself to a beautiful space that feels safe to you, maybe a beach or a piece of land, and just bring that awareness in. And so in that space, with this question or whatever it is that you're looking to find some resolve or peace around, So the very first thing to do, what I always do, is I give myself experience of bringing all the energy inside my body. So you might want to just think of maybe like a fishing line or something. Not that I've ever done fishing, but it's just a good way of kind of calling your energy. So just like a reel, just reel all your energy back. Oh, goodness me, I just did a big sigh under your skin. So if you're a very sensitive, empathic person, it's likely that your energy field is quite merging with others. So bringing it back under your skin is maybe not, I'm not suggesting you walk around like this all the time, but it's just good to be, in my experience, to be able to experience what does it feel like if I call all of my energy home to me? And so once you've done that, and you might want to take more time than I have to explain it here, then think of the question or the thing that you're looking to get some kind of answer around, and out in this beautiful space in nature, or just with your mind's eye, if you're inside, just take your energy back outside again, connect with the fields of nature and ask ask for support. And most likely you'll find that the answer or something will come straight into your energy field. If you choose to do this, and should you feel aligned to receive something, don't censor what comes, just because it will come really quickly, and it may not be what you're looking for. It may be the opposite to what your head's telling, or it might be just, sometimes for me, it was just a beautiful confirmation. It's like, yeah, I knew that anyway. So I was just trying to find another way that didn't involve me being uncomfortable. So yeah, I'd love to hear if anybody tries that. It's just a very different way of finding answers to something, because we're still working with our own inner feminine, but we're just asking an energy that's wiser and knows how to change to partner with us and give us some support. So on that, Nalini, I hand over to you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, all of you. Wow. I've been very much feeling and immersed in the last perigee, which is big, bright, amazing moon that Kaylin was talking about, which is Pisces at the end of last month. And with today's new moon energies, it's as though that entire infinite field download that I've been living in, now being brought into the new moon Virgo energies. It's like time to bring it into the details. And so for a few days there, even though it's sort of my task at the moment to write about, to scribe these lunations, I couldn't do it. And it's not the same thing as writer's block. It's just there's so much that it's not coming through any specific channel. It's trying to come through all of them. And so as the new moon started to form, as we started, it's about a 3-day window of going into the dark, it started to work. And so I don't guide that process anymore, like me personally. I just let source do it. But that feels really important right now as we move into all of what's going to happen with the equinox and the full moon at the end of this month and the eclipse occultations. It's letting happen what needs to happen within it. So we've all just talked about that in our own ways, but letting go of the ideas, the definitions, the concepts that we take so for granted that we don't even realize we're still holding them. It has to do with precision of language. It has to do with just our thought patterns. And I've been noticing that there's a huge seismic breaking off happening, like the large glacier pieces that are flowing into the seas at the moment, of things that it wasn't that I had necessarily thought about them, not thought about them, but my physical existence has depended on or been codependent with that whole setup of structure whether it's mental, emotional, physical. And pardon the technical, that's just kind of where I live. But, feeling all of that and saying, oh, okay, not realizing that that had been held particularly in this singularity, and then speaking to source, of course, but just nature, and saying, all right, well, this all belongs to you anyway. So let's just let all of that dissolve. And at the time, it occurred to me that all during the time that the many years that I was working with this series of energy processing that came through me, I kept wishing to add all of the celestial bodies, and I kept wishing to add all of the plant healing and all of that. And I had this thought a few days ago, I wonder why that really never happened. And there's just cosmic burst of laughter, just like from all of the realms. It's like, because it's too much. Because there's no possible way to download the all into this little pixel, that we are, and where that words on a page are. And yet, as we let go and let that express through us, it downloads as it needs to for each being all the time. Source keeps saying to me, what if it takes 1 million voices for 1 billion ears to hear? And so it's the same thing with every time we read something, every time we look at something. And I went out into the garden the other day because it was actually too hot to go for a walk. And for me, I know you ladies are hot girls. I am not. I pray for Ugg boot and hoodie weather. I mean, it's just, different body. But I was out in the garden for a bit, and it was so, I would say loud, but it wasn't cacophonous. It was just this huge singing symphony, which wasn't the leaf blowers and wasn't the traffic a couple of miles away and wasn't all of that other stuff. It was just nature. And so I posited the question, well, I would have loved for, like, when Sarah and I were working together a few years ago doing new moon gatherings, I would have loved for all various nature allies to come through this other work. And the answer wasn't a yes or no. It was, why do you think we didn't? And just the entire support, that absolute support that this is the planet our bodies are made of. This is the celestial realm that we incarnated into for whatever reason. And all of our ideas about that are just stupid. But, where none of us are right. I mean, there's truth in everything, but really, the minute we cling on to an idea, we really should get out the loo rolls. But it's just letting all of that come together and be supported, like all of you were talking about, letting it come in and be our support. So the garden and I were having a lovely symphony together. And the cat that lives with us has been asked by my housemate to not leave the garden, which I kind of feel all kinds of ways about that, but there are some other cats in the neighborhood who really don't think those rules need apply. And so they wander through from time to time. And there are 2 of them, and they don't get along, but they came from opposite ends of the garden, and they came right up in front of me and sat down, very uncat-like, and sat down and just sat there. Well, we're here. And I've been noticing how the coyotes and the foxes and the other beings around, especially the birds, all do the same thing all the time. And it wasn't that I don't know that and experience it as a fresh new dreaming of how this harmony works together. And this is going to come through our experiences, through our bodies, and through our lives, not from anywhere outside us. So I find this an extremely exciting time. I keep feeling, this is what I incarnated for. And I think we all did. All that other stuff was just school. Not that this isn't, but this is it. So I'm hoping that everything we've all shared here has helped with that integration, that assimilation and integration that's happening, and remembering that as everything falls apart, that needs to, it's actually all falling back together into a harmonized whole. And that's what we're here to hold, to love, and to represent. So thank you, everyone, for being here and for listening. I very
Thank
much
you.
appreciate it.